Call this meeting to order. When everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Gibbons.
Here.
Councilmember Jack
Here.
Councilmember Lizzo.
Here.
Councilmember McLean.
Here.
Councilmember Reinecker. Councilmember Schaefer.
Here.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Here.
Since there are no presentations or introductions tonight, we move straight into public hearings. At this time, the council will recess to conduct a public hearing regarding a request for a zoning code text amendment related to adopting a multifamily residential district R7. Ms. Graves, do you wish to enter any exhibits into the record?
Yes, Mayor, I do. I'd like to enter into the record Exhibit 1, which is an affidavit of publication showing that an ad was placed in the St. Louis County on December 12th, 2025. Exhibit 2, which is an affidavit of publication showing that the ad was placed in the Kirkwood Webster Times on December 12th, 2025. Exhibit 3, which is a list of property owners whom notice of the public hearing was sent to. Exhibit 4 is a viewer map showing the list of property owners to whom notice of the public hearing was sent. Exhibit 5 is the report of the Planning and Zoning Commission Subcommittee meeting dated December 3rd, 2025. Exhibit 6 is the report of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting dated December 4th, 2025. And Exhibit 7 is the Kirkwood Code of Ordinances.
Thank you. Mr. Wedler, who will present the issue to City Council?
That would be Planning and Development Services Director Jonathan Rage.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. So the first item for public hearing tonight is, as stated, the city-initiated zoning code text amendment. This text amendment is the result of the city's ongoing effort to redevelop the current Public Works Center site, which we'll be discussing in more detail at the second item, public hearing. But the idea of introducing a site-specific plan zoning district into the city zoning code has been discussed by the city for many years. And it's a tool that many communities across the region currently utilize to allow for site-specific review of various development regulations, such as height and setbacks, structure setbacks, for example. So again, this is a request to introduce a new district into our zoning code. And just a quick summary of that, of what's being proposed, is the creation of a planned multifamily district, which is being proposed as an R7 district, which would require a concept plan that illustrates the general development standards. The district would allow greater flexibility for, in this case, multifamily developments to encourage more innovative design through setting development standards specific to the site. And that's the reason for the concept plan requirement as well. So instead of thinking about these requirements, since they're not the general requirements laid out in other districts, that concept plan helps put the requirements into a visualized form for everyone to understand what those requirements on that specific site would look like. It's also, the proposed district is drafted in a way that it would have a minimum development size of 5 acres to provide appropriate scale that warrants flexibility. And currently it's drafted in a way that the maximum building height would be considered for each individual district, but could not exceed 5 stories or 70 feet. In addition to creating the district, there's various references throughout our zoning code to all the districts. So staff went through each section of the code and inserted references where necessary to this new district if it is adopted. So even with if this district is entered into the code, adopted into the code, City Council will still have the ability to approve or deny any request for this new district. Properties would have to rezone to this district, which we'll talk about in the second item. But again, the City Council, like all rezoning requests, would have the ability to review that specific request at that site, look at and discuss the proposal, and determine whether or not that's appropriate for the city. The city can even use this process to require increased setbacks, for example, or buffers for sensitive uses if it's warranted at that specific location. So this request was reviewed by our Planning and Zoning Commission. And just a few summaries of those notes. So that it was introduced to the commission in November. They assigned a subcommittee that met later in November. And then they presented their recommendation to the whole Planning and Zoning Commission in early December. And it was ultimately recommended for approval to the City Council. But a summary of their discussion was that they talked about the fact that the proposed format of the district would allow flexibility, as I mentioned, for the various development requirements, and would be site-specific, tied to the concept plan, as I mentioned. The commission required, so it was originally not in the draft, but they added that the proposed open space percentage is added to the list of required information that an applicant must provide, which is listed in section 2534, subsection 3. They talked about the 5-acre minimum, and that was proposed in recognition that larger properties often have greater opportunity to propose alternative design approaches. And staff also referenced the current separate proposal that we'll talk about later in that it meets that 5-acre minimum. By stating that the minimum development size, city can monitor the impacts as these requests were to come in without making them available to all properties to start across the city. They also talked about the fact that the rezoning requests, as I mentioned, would still be subject to consideration of our future land use map or comprehensive plan, which provides guidance on where multifamily development, which this would still be, right? It still is a multifamily development. So it would be still subject to that review and comparison to our long range plans. Additionally, they talked about the fact that they were comfortable with the overall maximum height, no more than 5 stories or 70 feet, but again, to be reviewed with each development or each proposal. The commission requested that places of worship be included as a permitted use in this, just to be consistent with all other residential districts and multifamily districts. Again, that would have to be specified in any specific development, whether that was going to be included or not. There was some discussion. So as I've mentioned multiple times, this is a multifamily district that's being proposed. There was discussion by the commission about the fact, the idea that it could be included to expanded to include commercial uses. And there were commissioners who felt that it would be a good idea to have more openness in the district. There weren't people that were necessarily opposed to that. However, staff explained that the analysis and the question at hand, the analysis would be much different if you wanted to look at a commercial plan district or a mixed use plan district. And that ultimately the commission determined that this proposal should remain multifamily, but it could be something to monitor or discuss in the future if the city feels that the tool is a positive thing. So. They also talked about the landscaping buffering standards and that they should be explicitly listed in the ordinance for any development that goes through this process. As I mentioned, they did recommend approval with a few changes that are in the current draft. So as a reminder, this is a zoning code text amendment request. So there are 4 criteria in section 25-17, subsection E2 in our code, which lists the criteria by which the commission should consider and the city council should consider text amendments. Among those are the item I, which is the proposed amendment is consistent with the comprehensive plan, other adopted city plans, and the stated purpose of this code. So as I mentioned at the beginning, it's been something that's been discussed for many years with the city. It is a tool that's used by many communities in the region to help the city get the type of development that they want. So we're here for the public hearing, as you all know, right now. After this, it will be prepared for your consideration if you all see that as fit. So I'm available. This is a city-initiated request, so I'm available for questions.
Does anyone have questions? Councilmember Lutzow.
Thank you. So I can't recall if there were questions within planning and zoning about the proposed height up to a possible maximum 70 feet or 5 stories? Because right now for B2, which is the zoning there,
Mhm.
and B2 mixed,
Mhm.
the maximum height is 60 feet. If I can reference what Double Eagle has proposed, at least unless they've changed something, they were talking about 55 feet, 4 stories, unless they've decided in over the months
Yeah.
that something has changed and, okay.
No,
I just want to clarify because we've got the modification process and the verbiage on this new zoning district talks about exceptional artistic design. I can't remember the exact wording. Amenities and adequate transition to adjacent neighborhoods. It normally, to improve the quality, we would maybe use the modification process as a kind of give and take, but it will be well understood that this district, a starting point is that it should be exceptional design quality, amenities, may be considered and must consider transition to the neighborhoods. I mean, it seems like height in Kirkwood is always like sort of the perennial
Mhm.
big discussion. And I just want to make sure that, we're not giving away the farm. To my knowledge, the Double Eagle has not is not thinking about maximizing that height.
Yeah, so there's a few things, and I mean, it always depends on how you measure height, right? But by our definition, we define that. But I think the thing to keep in mind is that provision of 5 stories, 70 feet was a absolute cap,
Mhm.
right? And every district, if there is a context by which 40 feet is the most height that the council thinks, then you don't have to approve up to 70 feet, right? It is a site-by-site consideration. I think that was put in there really just so it wasn't open-ended, right? We didn't want it like the other things. We didn't, because height is so sensitive, they commission wanted and staff as well recommended having some cap, and it had been discussed before in that way. So, the number, everybody can have different opinions on what that right number is. I think there was some discussion that commission did feel that number was appropriate. I think there are, if you're looking at what the language that I think you're referencing is imaginative and innovative design, right? I think the idea was we didn't want to, again, because the flexibility process that you're referencing is in our site plan, which covers all properties, right? This allowance is just for property that the council decides should be zoned this district. So it is, again, a very limited process that has this additional ability, but again, still oversight by the council. So I think the idea was not to, quibble is probably a too strong of a word, but not get focused on arguing 5 and 10 feet here, but give some flexibility additional for consideration.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, it is 25 feet over the current requirement maximum, right? For multifamily, which is 45 feet max
for a single use multifamily, 40 feet.
or 40
So
feet.
it's, yeah.
So even, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a substantial change, but I just want to kind of make it more or less clear that this proposed code change, but the project that we're talking about does not envision taking
That-
advantage.
That information will come out in the next public hearing
Mhm.
in minutes.
Okay, yeah. So,
But I mean, the important thing is to know if this is put in as it's drafted, right? This is in the code for others to, I mean, that's the way it has to be done, right? You can't just zone one property, one thing and say nobody else can do it, right? That's right. So it has to be available, subject to certain restrictions. And that's what, are these parameters the appropriate parameters to have, to allow for developers to offer ideas and the city to consider those?
right, I mean, for a frame of reference, we've got the fly space on K-Pac,
Mhm.
which is what, 72 feet or something
I've heard
like that.
76, I think maybe something like
Somewhere
that, yeah.
70 something or other.
Yep.
Or we've got Station Plaza that likely way overshot the,
There are buildings that exceed 60 feet currently in the
Yeah.
city, yeah.
but just for a frame of reference,
Mhm.
that's sort of
Yeah.
where, you know. Um, so by just having it multifamily, as you alluded to, that Planning and Zoning Commission did apparently discuss, well, what about retail? It is the downtown area. I mean, this is a code that is sort of being customized for this property and hopefully will apply to other 5 acre or more sites in the future, but I'm just wondering, um, I always sort of envisioned the possibility of some retail there. We've got the theater, we've got the Aria coming in the near future.
Mhm.
It is our downtown area. It's going to open up this neighborhood to all kinds of new activity. So by saying multifamily alone, is retail necessarily precluded?
So again, you're actually talking about the next public hearing that would be rezoning that property. But yes, if this new district is adopted and a property is rezoned to this, it would not allow commercial use.
Okay,
So if any site, if this is adopted and any property owner comes to the city that has 5 acres and wants to zone to this, the city should evaluate, is this an area that we need commercial according to our long range plans, right? So, we have clearly marked a lot of property on Kirkwood Road as mandatory commercial in many of our plans, right? So that would be a different consideration. I'm not where that should be considered that potentially a pure multifamily district is not. But we have other multifamily districts now that property owners can request R5, right, RMM, where it's the same calculation that should happen when a rezoning request comes.
as far as accessory buildings, I thought I read something about a maximum of 7% or 1,500 square feet, whichever is the lesser.
Yeah, so
The total site, that doesn't seem like a whole,
no, so what the text amendment that's being offered as part of this clarifies that those limits only apply to single family residential.
okay, that
So,
makes a lot more sense, all
yeah.
right?
So
Okay.
that's the way it was prior to 2021. We realized when the code was reorganized, we didn't specify that because it was pulled out and organized differently. So
Okay.
this is to clean
Okay,
that
so
up.
that doesn't, I mean, I don't remember if there are maybe going to be some one-story, whatever, but not single-family residences. That's just sort of cleaning up our code
Correct.
that
Yep.
happens to be in here. Okay.
Yep.
Then the whole thing of green space, open space. I mean, if there's anything that we learned after the pandemic, it's the importance of people getting outside,
Mhm.
congregating, socializing, and I don't know, could you please talk about, I mean, I know it's only just under 6 acres over there, so lots of plans for how many units, and parking and all of that, but I'm just wondering possibility of actually some planned open green space for pocket park, for,
Yeah, so the text amendment, what was suggested by the commission is to require that any developer requesting this district provide the city with that explicit information as required information so that the city could consider, discuss, and, decide if that's adequate or not. We currently do not, the commission did not feel that we needed to add a base percentage of open space.
something or other.
Right, that they just wanted it to be in there as information and noted as important information that should be considered. And I don't want to jump ahead to that information, that was provided, and we'll get into that with the site plan in the next public hearing. And people were surprised at how much open space is included. Your eyes automatically go to the parking and the building, but you don't realize how much a 10-foot buffer around a large site adds up and other spaces in between. So
Mhm. I mean, yeah, it'll be beautiful sidewalks and walking areas and, pedestrianized, but I still envision more of like public square where there's seat walls and et cetera, where, I guess, that's the main things that I wanted to sort of get clarified with regard to the code change as well as how it sort of applies to the coming public hearing. Thank
Good.
you, Jonathan.
thank you.
More questions? Okay. Now we'll move to comments from the public. So has anyone completed a card to speak regarding this proposal?
Mayor and council, for this public hearing, we do not have any comments.
Thank you. Any further comments from council? Okay. All right. Hearing no further discussion, this public hearing is now closed. The bill will be on the January 22nd, 2026 agenda for first reading consideration. Now we will move into our second public hearing, a request for zoning map amendment, B2 and B2 to 7 to R7 for Double Eagle Development at 345 South Fillmore Avenue, 336 and 334 South, 340 South Taylor Avenue. Ms. Graves, do you wish to enter any exhibits into the record?
Yes, Mayor, I do. Exhibit 1, which is an affidavit of publication showing that an ad was placed in the St. Louis County on December 12th, 2025. Exhibit 2, which is an affidavit of publication showing that an ad was placed in the Webster Kirkwood Times on December 12th, 2025. Exhibit 3, which is a list of property owners whom notice of the public hearing was sent to. Exhibit 4 is a viewer map showing the list of property owners to whom notice of the public hearing was sent. Exhibit 5 is a report of the Planning and Zoning Subcommission Subcommittee meeting dated December 3rd, 2025. Exhibit 6 is the report of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting dated December 4th, 2025. And Exhibit 7 is the Kirkwood Code of Ordinances. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Wedler, who will present the issue to City Council?
That would be Planning and Development Services Director Jonathan Raish.
Thank you again, Mayor, Council. Okay, so this is a request to rezone from B2 downtown commercial to a newly or proposed R7 district that we just discussed. The site is the approximately 6-acre site south of our Kirkwood Performing Arts Center, in between, bound on the west side by Taylor Avenue, on the east side by Fillmore, and on the south partially by Boyer Lane. The site is currently zoned B2, and it's surrounded by properties that are also zoned B2 to the north and west, properties that are zoned I1, a mixture of I1, so light industrial, R5 multifamily, and R4 single family to the south and west, and light industrial across Fillmore to the east. This is just an aerial view of the site. It obviously is the current public works site owned by the city. I have a few various these are site photos of the subject site itself of the Public Works Center, looking from Fillmore, looking from Boyer, a couple shots looking from the Fillmore side. Looking around at the context, these photos are at the intersection of Monroe and Taylor. You see the Kirkwood Performing Arts Center in the upper left. The post office on the upper right, upper left, you have the townhouses across from the post office as part of Station Plaza. And then the under construction on the bottom right, the ARIA mixed-use building. Along South Fillmore, there's a mixture to the north end, light industrial uses, and then as you go further south, transitioning to single-family homes just north of our Fillmore Park. On Boyer Lane, there are two properties that access. The top is a single-family home at the end of Boyer Lane and a multifamily development that fronts Fillmore as well. On South Taylor, it's a mixture of single-family, and the top picture is a multifamily property that is to the southwest of our subject site. Additionally, on Taylor, you have historic church to the upper left in the upper left picture, Kirkwood House on the upper right, multifamily housing, condos on the bottom left, and Green Tree Church on the bottom right. So as mentioned in the previous presentation, with all rezoning requests, we look at our future land use map and our comprehensive plan. This site is designated as downtown on our future land use map, which lists, has additional information in detail in the plan, but it lists acceptable development types to include attached residential, meaning duplexes, townhomes, and apartments. So again, while it just means in downtown, we did envision in our long-range plan that there would be areas that would be suitable for multifamily. Right? This site specifically was also identified in our downtown master plan as a short to medium term redevelopment opportunity. This is just a brief legal description of the property, roughly 5.9 acres. These are very hard to see on the screen, I apologize, but this is in existing conditions. The aerial that I showed earlier, it's showing that just on the technical drawing. So the existing conditions of the Public Works Center on the property, and you see the Performing Arts Center to the north, as well as the parking lot for the Performing Arts Center. So again, if you didn't catch it on the aerial and the subject site, the parking lot for Kirkwood Performing Arts Center is not included in this request. Nor is the Performing Arts Center for that matter. So as I talked about with the public hearing with the new district formation, the R7 plan district does require a concept plan. This concept plan, so this rezoning request was made by developer Double Eagle, who has representatives here tonight as well. The concept plan that they submitted is shown here on the screen, proposes six four-story multifamily buildings located throughout the site with a internal access drive running east to west from Taylor to Fillmore, dividing the site into two. It has a combination of structured parking under the structures as well as surface parking throughout. The concept plan, again, this is not, if approved, we will still have a detailed site plan process, architectural review, all that comes later. The purpose of this concept plan, again, is to show how the development, how the structure setbacks that are proposed, how the landscape areas proposed, how those proposed development regulations would look in concept. So there is a lot of detail here as well, but for purposes of the zoning, if it is approved, this concept plan would be attached to that zoning such that the development would have to substantially conform to this concept. So again, multifamily buildings, they're oriented to front Fillmore and Taylor, which was taken from our downtown master plan of creating pedestrian-oriented development. They also oriented the buildings to pushed them and oriented them toward the internal sidewalks that flank that east-west drive, the internal private drive, creating a throughway for both pedestrians and vehicles, and again, creating it to be pedestrian-oriented with the buildings close to the sidewalks. Again, they've shown that they've allowed for areas for stormwater. They'll have to go through MSD review through the site plan process if the zoning is approved as well, but they're accommodating that. While we're here, I will point out, and I'll bring it up later, there is this 9-space portion of the development that is a parking lot that was a point of discussion with the Planning and Zoning Commission. Ultimately, you'll see that the commission brought up the idea with the developer, asked. There is some terrain there, and with with those 9 spaces, the developer meets our standard 1.5 parking spaces per dwelling unit. The commission asked if they would entertain asked first, what would the ratio be without those 9 spaces? And if it were converted to green space, to open space, the developer did provide that information. It was about 1.4, so a slight decline. The Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation was to remove that parking in favor of creating more green space there, with the knowledge that it would be just slightly under the normal parking requirement. The developer was, again, obviously could accommodate and meet the 1.5, but was agreeable to doing that as well, to creating that as green space rather than those 9 parking spaces. So, again, as far as the concept goes, we require that they show just a cross-section of building heights. So this does comply. As mentioned, they're 4 stories. It is nowhere near the 70 feet maximum height. They show that they would comply with those height regulations. So as it went through the commission, the commission discussed the general compatibility of the proposed multi-family use and the proposed R7 multifamily district with the surrounding property and with our future land use map as part of the comprehensive plan. The applicant replied to a request for the amount of open space, not including parking areas for the proposed development. They also excluded the swimming pool area, private swimming pool area for the development in this calculation. Developer responded that their proposal provides just over 25% open space as proposed. The applicant explained that the location of the proposed bioretention areas and were functionally dependent on the proximity to the creek and the culvert that goes through the site. So again, showing some foresight and planning as it goes forward. I talked about this point already about the 9-space parking area. So you'll see in the proposal, it's recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission to reduce the parking requirement from 1.5 spaces per unit to 1.4. Again, very site specific, and specifically only if so that area can be converted to extra open space, green space. So. Other items of note, the commission discussed the desire to ensure the general public will have access to the internal drive. Staff informed the commission that this would be all accomplished through easements that would be talked about more in detail with the final site plan process. Similarly, proposed sidewalks along Fillmore, they're currently indicated on the private property in an attempt to preserve existing trees on Fillmore. And if that's the case and they can preserve the trees and they are located there, easements would be required. It was discussed that the standard perimeter landscaping requirements and frontage tree requirements would be sufficient around the majority of the site. However, that 9-space parking lot area provided felt if that's not converted, so here's the kind of caveat with the Planning and Zoning Commission. If the council still wants to have that parking lot there, the 9 spaces, they would recommend a type D buffer around that parking lot. So it includes a site-proof fence in addition to landscaping. So they did want to make a recommendation for either direction there. And lastly, they reacted favorably to the request due to its consistency with the downtown master plan and the city's future land use map in the comprehensive plan. So We have also all of our staff departments review this, and just some items of note, we've provided information to the developer about turning radius requirements to be considered during the site plan. So with our fire marshal and all that, so that's all being considered and under review. An access easement is required. Staff would recommend or request that we require an access easement. You can picture in the northwest corner, the site abuts the stormwater management for our Performing Arts Center. And in speaking with our Parks Department, they need to ensure that they have access to maintain that still. So again, the developer's aware of all these items, but just wanted to make you all aware of that as well. So this is a rezoning request, zoning map amendment request. So 2517 subsection E1 has 9 criteria. You are all familiar with them, but a couple of them are that the proposed amendment is consistent with the comprehensive plan and other adopted city plans and stated purpose of the code. Also, the uses would be permitted on the property if it were reclassified, would be compatible with the uses permitted on other property in the immediate vicinity. And lastly, one to point out is that the proposed amendment is not likely to result in significant adverse impacts upon other property in the vicinity of the subject tract. So just like the one before, we're here for the public hearing, except unlike the one before, there is an applicant for this one. So I'm available for question and the applicant has a representative here as well.
Does the applicant wish to say anything to council?
Just for
Okay.
questions, I guess?
Okay, great. All righty. Does council have questions?
I do.
Councilmember Jessetic.
Can you tell me what's the number of parking spaces they have to have?
So for the 1.5 rate, yeah, it's 300 and, give me 1 second. It's 203 units. I should be able to do this. I would expect my kids to be able to do this in their head, and I'm at 305. 303, 202 units, 303 parking spaces. That's at the 1.5 rate.
So there's 302 units?
200 and
202.
Yep.
And then, so 305, and
Uh,
you're gonna,
303.
goodness gracious, 3 parking space, and you're going to reduce it by 9
Right.
potentially.
That's the recommendation, correct.
So they're going to, so then tell me what that number is?
294.
294.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So just bear with me here.
Mhm.
Because a little bit of concern is, so that's 1.46.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I don't know how specific, if we do 1.4,
Oh, I see.
that
Sure,
could go to a lot less than just 9.
sure.
So how do we make sure that we keep on target if we acquiesce to drop a 9?
I mean, we could be specific enough to just say it requires, just saying the number of spaces, then if the unit count decreases, then you're off, right? So, I mean, I would be comfortable with 1.46 if that's what the requirement.
Just so
penciled
we,
out too. Sure.
Again,
Yeah.
not that they wouldn't, kind of be consistent, but if we drop it all the way to 1.4 times the
Yeah.
202 gives us a different total.
Right.
And I don't want that all of a sudden to come back in.
Understood. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
However, it's right next to the K-Pac.
I was gonna say, are we voting on that tonight too, on this 9 parking spot thing?
Oh,
There's no vote tonight.
You're exactly where I was going. It was the K-Pac parking, and we're gonna be short of parking down there. And so I appreciate the commission's thinking and thought process on that. I'm thinking 9 spots is golden.
Except those 9 spots are on the other side of the
right,
Those 9 spots.
property. Sure.
Yeah, so
yeah. I have a question about the buildings. I don't know where I got this impression as we were working through this before, but I thought the buildings were all going to be different heights, so it didn't kind of look so monotone.
So the zoning, that's not determined in the zoning.
Right,
So,
I understand that, but
yeah, well, what you're referring to are discussions in the RFP consideration. that would come up later. So the building design themselves would be discussed during if the zoning is approved, then the site plan would handle what the building, and really honestly, the architectural review board
Right.
would
I,
handle what
I,
the-
kn- I understand that, but I mean, I would be reticent. My understanding was it were going to be different heights. And I'm looking.
And I'm
at
not saying that
and
they're
they're
not
all-
going, I'm not saying they're not going to be. What I'm telling you is that's not determined, the design of the buildings is not determined at the zoning stage. So
Okay, well,
we ask him. Yeah,
Yeah, he looks like,
out here.
okay.
looks like he's poised to come.
He's anxious to talk.
Good evening, Mayor
Good
McGivens,
evening.
council members. Regarding the image that was shown with the section of the heights, if we could pull that up. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. This is just a massing. So the design of these buildings is in process, but this is just to show from different angles, different sections, the maximum that the height will be and the filling of the void of that space will be. So that is not the design of the buildings, just to clarify that.
Okay, because, and the other thing was what we saw from your presentation was in the same building, some different
Yes.
heights.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, that intention is still there. It's
Okay.
not fully designed and ready for presentation and not under review tonight, but this is more of a technical drawing to just show that, as far as like total height of building is usually measured by an average of the topography. We wanted to get the technicality of that there to make sure we show you what the intention is for the scale of the buildings and the height of the buildings in the context.
Great, thank you. Might as well stay up there. Does anybody have any further questions of the applicant? Okay. Go ahead, Councilman.
Okay. I know that you said that MSD will review this. I know that there's a significant creek that comes through there from
Mhm.
downtown. And I noticed that there's some stormwater mitigation on site. I just want to make sure and going on the record that MSD has to
Absolutely,
sign off on anything that's going to go on this site.
absolutely.
Okay, that's it for me. Simple.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing no more questions, we will now move to comments from the public. Zoe, has anyone completed a card to speak regarding this proposal?
Yes, Mayor and Council, we have one request for public comment from Joe Roser.
Good evening.
Evening.
We have a business across the street from the Public Works at 301 and 302 Santee. So when I heard that MSD was going to provide the water runoff security for the project, well, when K-PAC was built, okay, they assured me that MSD would follow all the guidelines and Kirkwood would approve it and build it, and that's what it was. So heavy rain came and we had 3 inches of stormwater in our basement. Never before until K-PAC was built, okay? That culvert that goes underneath Fillmore is about ready to crumble. It's been bad shape for 10 years. And Kirkwood cleans it out. When I call, they don't offer. When I call, they clean that culvert out to keep that stormwater going through there. Well, on a heavy rain, that culvert cannot take that water because that water comes from Adams all the way down on that creek. And they have a flood gauge there on the side of the guardrail, 3 foot, 4 foot. And I've seen cars flooded out. That creek goes up and above, 3 foot over that road. Kirkwood has to come out, pull a tractor in front of the street, Fillmore, to keep people from driving through and bottom out their car and it just dies there. So the issue that I have is the water runoff, and everybody says, oh, it's going to all be MSD approved. Well, you know what? That's not correct. That's not right. That water, that culvert's got to be probably 3 times as big as it is now to go underneath Fillmore. If that, it can't go any deeper because they can't make the creek deeper. Okay, it's got to go wider. So the issue I have is a water runoff of, and they say, well, we're going to eliminate 9 parking spots for green space. What is that going to help the water runoff? 0. So that's my concern of, and they didn't put my picture of our property up there because I guess it doesn't coordinate with the Kirkwood landscape or whatever, but it's just ridiculous that 203 homes are going to be built there and the water runoff. I mean, and then they say, well, sidewalks are going to be on the property, on the west side of Fillmore, because now they're on the east side of Fillmore. But when Kirkwood built that, they said, well, we only require on one side of the street. So you're going to put sidewalks on the other side of the street. It's going to be more hard surface. And I just think this is over size of what they want development there on that size of the lot. Thank you for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Mayor and council, we have one request from Jerry Beedstein.
Thank you. To follow up on Roger's comment, I know that the developer and the city took great pains in all the open space that was being provided. My question though is it really open space? Or is it the sidewalk that the city is going to want deeded to them? And is it all paved anyway? And stormwater is an issue every place. Stormwater is really a problem there. And when you do an MSD calculation, you do it based on how much impervious surface you have now. Public Works is probably 90% paved. Okay. And these poor people that are downstream, much less the people upstream, you're just trying to fit an awful lot in one place. And it's kind of concerning to me. Nancy, I thought, had a very good question about the building height. Well, you're all showing these Muldoon blocks that are 4 stories high. Well, before this developer finishes, or if this developer leaves and then another one comes and uses the same plan, you're going to start seeing things that are much taller, and you're going to have, there's an awful lot going on down there. So I'd just like you to consider how you're going to deal with all the traffic and how you're going to deal with the stormwater and how you're going to protect people like Rozier and people that are on downstream and upstream who've been here for years, paying taxes, trying to do good things for Kirkwood. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
We have no further requests for comment.
Thank you, Zoe. Does council have any more questions, concerns, want to ask? No? Okay. Seeing none, this public hearing is now closed. The bill will be on the January 22nd, 2026 agenda for first reading approval. Now we'll move into public comments.
The public comments portion of the meeting is an opportunity for the city council to listen to comments from citizens. It is not a question and answer session, and the city council will not respond to comments or answer questions during this period. The mayor may refer any matter brought up to the city council to the interim chief administrative officer or city clerk if action is needed.
Thank you. So has anyone filled out a comment card who wishes to make a public comment?
Yes, Mayor and Council, the first comment is from Allison Tax.
Good evening. My name is Allison Tax. I am a resident on Doherty Ferry at 610, and I'm here to speak in favor of the Bill 11111 regarding removing the limited parking restriction that is on the south side of Doherty Ferry. Back in September, I started the petition and received signatures from the majority of my neighbors on both sides and across the street. And we all feel that this would be a good move for our street and making it safer and more welcoming for people who have single lane driveways like myself with multiple drivers in the house. Being able to park on the street is necessary, and it also is going to hopefully slow down those speedy drivers that come down Doherty Ferry that way. So thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
The next comment is from Rick Davis.
Good evening. First of all, I just want to thank the council for giving me the opportunity to speak this evening. I am one of 11 residents, individual owners along Madison and Clay in the buildings, the Madison, the Hutton, and the Barclay, who are becoming increasingly concerned about the decibel level of the music emanating from bars and restaurants in downtown Kirkwood, specifically Billy G's and Four Hands. You all have a list of names of these residents who are concerned, in addition to specific actions that have been taken to speak with the individual businesses to see if they could consistently lower the volume of the music, as well as several communications to the city of Kirkwood, specifically your former chief administrative officer, Mr. Hawes, copying members of the council, as well as Captain Connors of the Kirkwood Police Department, to just try and get some action. What is loud music to residents that live on Madison? Well, with our doors and windows closed, approximately 1 to 1.5 blocks away from these establishments, we can clearly hear the music in our homes. Sometimes the music gets so loud that TVs have to be turned up. We live in a building with other residences, so that's a concern that we're turning our TVs up really loud. The music doesn't stop until 10 o'clock at night. It goes on when the weather's good, 7 nights a week, as well as Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays at Four Hands, pretty much every night at Billy G's. I've spoken to many of the managers at Billy G's and Four Hands. I've spoken to the owner of Four Hands, the general manager at Billy G's, asking them why the music needs to be that loud. They really don't have any response, although a couple of the managers have remarked that sometimes the music is so loud that the servers have a hard time actually hearing the customers in those specific establishments. At no time have we ever asked that music be prohibited or there's a moratorium on music, just that the music is at a more set at a more reasonable level. And in speaking with Captain Connors and meeting with him, he has mentioned that all they can do, all the police can do, is deal with this on a case-by-case basis. But unless the city takes some action by way of ordinance, really, there's really nothing. So we're asking the city to take some action, create an ordinance on the decibel level, which would also include some consequences for the businesses that don't comply. Thank you.
Thank you.
The last comment is from Wallace Wood.
Evening. I had hoped to get a couple of things done here tonight, but I'll have to come back again, so you'll have to suffer through me when that happens. The first thing I want to talk about tonight is the issue of transparency and openness with the transactions of the council. We continue to have work sessions in the downstairs conference room, which doesn't give access either in time or in spirit with videos available to the residents. There's no reason you see an example of how well this works. If sitting around that rectangular table provided us better government, I'd be the first one to get there. But when I look at the list of problems that we have in this city, that hasn't solved them. Move the meetings up here. Be fair, let everybody see what you're doing or not doing, because some people aren't doing anything. The next thing is really one of my highest priorities. When I look at the myriad of problems that we have in the city in infrastructure and capital needs, one of the things that's lost is we don't have a strategic plan to address these issues. And we've got a lot of issues. And one of them that's most important to me and should be to the residents of the council, because 80% of our budget, somewhere close to 80% of our budget, is in salaries and benefits. I haven't seen any effort yet to figure out how we're going to continue to collect, to attract and retain the best quality of employees that we can to work in this city. That's police, fire, trash collection, water department, electric department, all of those issues you're aware of. The other problems that we have can be dealt with in that same strategic plan, but we've got to get there. You know, I see us tonight, and I've seen other meetings, even when I was a council member, where we're quibbling over what I would consider tantamount to deck chairs on the Titanic. 26 years from now, 50 years from now, no one will remember that the 2026 council put good windows in the buildings downtown. They won't care. It won't be their priority. It's quality of life, and that comes from service and facilities. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was Mr. Wallace Ward. Sorry about that, sir. There are no further questions.
Thank you, Zoe. We'll move to the consent agenda. Is there a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
Motion. Second.
Okay. We need someone to request that the minutes be removed from the consent agenda and placed at the end of the agenda for further discussion.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, we don't need a motion on that. I just need somebody to request to pull them.
Oh.
Perfect.
Okay,
So moved.
okay. Thank you. Okay, so those will go to the end. Okay. We will now move to unfinished business.
Amended substitute bill one.
Okay. So we need a motion and a second to bring amended substitute bill 11102 to the floor for consideration.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion to bring amended substitute bill 11102 to the floor for consideration, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Substitute bill 11099.
Oh, sorry.
Something's wrong. Yeah. Okay.
So David can read the.
Okay.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance adopting the 2021 International Fuel Gas Code with modifications as the City of Kirkwood Fuel Gas Code, regulating the design, construction, quality of materials, erection, installation, alteration, repair, location, relocation, replacement, additions to, use, or maintenance of fuel gas systems in the City of Kirkwood, providing for the issuance of permits and the collection of fees, and repealing the current fuel gas code.
Are there any questions or comments on amended substitute bill 11102?
I'm happy.
Anyone?
Yeah, we have to vote on it.
Doesn't scare me.
Oh. Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Gibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Jack Sadek?
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo?
Yes.
Councilmember McLean?
Yes.
Councilmember Reinecker?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer?
Yes.
Okay, the bill has passed final reading. Bill 11110.
Mayor and council, this is an ordinance appropriating $20,000 from the Equitable Sharing Fund balance to the Police Department Law Enforcement account 3010205000000620040 for the outfitting of new uniformed police officers and replenishing essential gear.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on Bill 11110? Roll call, please.
Mayor Gibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Jack Sadek?
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo?
Yes.
Councilmember McLean?
Yes.
Councilmember Reinecker? Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer?
Yes.
Very good. The bill has passed final reading. Bill 11111.
Mayor and council, this is an ordinance amending the Kirkwood Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, Article 8, Section 14393, Schedule C, no parking zones by removing the limited parking restriction of no parking school days only, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the south side of Doherty Ferry Road between Applewood Drive and the east property line of 522 Doherty Ferry Road.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on Bill 11111? Roll call, please.
Mayor Gibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Jack Sadek?
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo?
Yes.
Councilmember McLean?
Yes.
Councilmember Reinecker? Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer?
Yes.
The bill has passed final reading. Bill 11112.
Mayor and council, this is an ordinance adopting a revised City of Kirkwood classification and pay plan effective January 12th, 2026.
Are there any questions or comments on Bill 11112? Yes, Councilmember Lutzo.
Well, I didn't ask this question probably in time for staff to actually come up with the number, but being hopeful that maybe David might know what is the impact of this on the budget as far as personnel costs. Do you happen to know off the top of your head?
I do not have the figure at hand, but it was included in our current budget.
Okay. Good enough, and I'll ask it sooner than right before the vote next time.
Are there any other questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Gibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Jack Sadek?
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo?
Yes.
Councilmember McLean?
Yes.
Councilmember Reinecker? Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer?
Yes.
The bill has passed final reading. We'll now move into new business. Bill 11113.
Mayor and council, this is an ordinance granting approval of a major site plan for a restaurant and special use permit for a drive-through facility at the property known as 10300 Manchester Road, Green Tree Center, subject to certain conditions.
Thank you. Do I have a motion and a second to accept Bill 11113? 11113. For first reading approval. Great, thank you. Are there any questions or comments on this bill? Okay, all in favor of first reading approval of Bill 11113, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The bill has passed first reading approval. Bill 11114.
Mayor and council, this is an ordinance adopting the 2021 International Plumbing Code with modifications as the City of Kirkwood Plumbing Code, regulating the design, construction, quality of materials, erection, installation, alteration, repair, location, relocation, replacement, additions to, use or maintenance of plumbing systems in the City of Kirkwood. Providing for the issuance of permits and collection of fees and repealing the current plumbing code.
Do I have a motion and second to accept Bill 11114 for first reading approval?
Second.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments?
Comments.
Nobody? Okay. All in favor of first reading approval of Bill 11114, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Bill has passed first reading approval. Bill 11115.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance adopting the 2021 International Residential Code for one and two family dwellings, including Appendix AA, sizing and capacity of gas piping, Appendix AB, sizing and venting systems serving appliances equipped with draft hoods, Category 1 appliances, and appliances listed for the use with Type B vents, Appendix AC, exit terminals of mechanical draft and direct venting systems, Appendix AE, manufactured housing used as dwellings, Appendix AF, radon control methods, Appendix AG, piping standards for various applications, Appendix AH, patio covers, Appendix AJ, existing buildings and structures, Appendix AK, sound transmission, Appendix AM, home day care, R3 occupancy, Appendix AP, sizing of water pipe sizing, Appendix AQ, tiny houses is published by the International Code of Council with modifications as the residential code of the City of Kirkwood establishing minimum regulations governing the design, construction, alteration, enlargement, repair, demolition, removal, quality of materials, erection, location, relocation, replacement, maintenance, and use of all buildings and structures, providing for the issuance of permits and the collection of fees, and repealing the existing residential code.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Second to repeat that, Mayor?
Yes. Do I have a motion and a second to accept Bill 11115 for
Motion.
first reading
Second.
approval? Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Okay. All in favor of first reading approval of Bill 11115, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The bill has passed first reading approval. Bill 11116.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance amending Chapter 17 of the Kirkwood Code of Ordinances by adding a new Article 17 for the purpose of banning entertainment devices offering monetary prizes.
Do I have a motion and a second to accept Bill 11116?
Motion.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? Okay.
Mayor,
Oh,
so I appreciate this effort, your effort, and especially our city attorney for coming up with an inventive way of dealing with so-called gray machines that have permeated municipalities. So I really do I'm fairly convicted about this whole thing that such devices should not be allowed. They are regulated throughout the state on different levels. There's questions still about various types of machines, et cetera, but I appreciate the persistence in figuring out how to deal with these things. So I want to say thank you.
thank you. Any other comments?
Those following at home, monetary prizes defined in this ordinance as any prize in the form of cash, check, bank transfer, negotiable instrument, store credit, gift card, or any ticket or other item that's redeemable for cash, check, bank transfer, negotiable instrument, store credit, or gift card. So your teddy bear machines that you can put a quarter in and get a teddy bear out of, those are still good.
Right. Yes. Thank you for our,
Yep. This is different.
Right,
Thank
teddy
you.
bears are not negotiable currency, yeah.
thank you, Councilmember McLean, for letting folks know what that's all about.
Taco, and that, don't they have a lot of?
Yes, a lot of those machines, yes.
Yes. I just want the parents to know that their kids will still be happy.
Any other comments? Okay, all in favor of first reading approval of Bill 11116, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The bill has passed first reading approval. Resolution 1/2026.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution approving the final site plan for a mixed-use project in the B2 zoning district located on the property known as 300 North Kirkwood Road, subject to certain conditions.
Do I have a motion and a second to accept Resolution 1, 2026 as read?
Motion.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments on the resolution? I just want to say that I think we're all pretty excited about TriStar coming into our cities and being a neighbor. They're going to be a great citizen, a great public entity for Kirkwood. And Matt Siegel is here, and Matt, thank you for the work that you've done. Just the fact that you would call it Pittman Place is, you don't know how much meaning that has to our citizens. So we really appreciate that.
Yeah, I'd like to add, you listened and, you know, we had said previously when this first came up, this is a very prominent location in the city of Kirkwood. It needed a certain wow factor that the previous design just didn't have. So we thank you for listening to the input that was given.
Any other comments?
Just one quick one. Your reward for being the very last item on the agenda tonight is you get to be number 1 in 2026.
One.
Yes, Councilmember Letzow.
Thank you. So I'm liaison to the Architectural Review Board, and the members met for a special meeting on December 22nd to look at the renderings and some revised drawings that were brought. And I can say that, in my view, the body as a whole was very pleased with the architectural renderings, the fact that context of important structures, important historic structures in the downtown area are being referenced by the architectural treatment and materials of this structure. One of the members brought additional ideas which were not added as conditions, but I do believe that they'll be considered as possible optional treatment, especially from the corner money shot there at Kirkwood Road and Adams, possibly enhancing with a different type of material mix than what was shown on the renderings. But overall, I'd like to commend the petitioner, because I think it really will be an asset to Kirkwood, and especially to that important intersection in our downtown area. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay. Let's see. Roll call, please.
Mayor Gibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Jack
Yes.
Councilmember Litzo?
Yes.
Councilmember McLean? Councilmember Reinecker? Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer?
Yes.
Resolution has passed. Okay, now we're going back to
Agenda.
consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Yeah, it's the December 18th minutes. So
Okay.
we have to do a motion, a second to approve them, and then we'll go into
Okay.
the proposed.
This is,
amendments.
yeah, okay. This is the December 18th minutes. Do I have a motion, a second to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you.
And I'm not sure, is it my chime in? I don't know if you guys all saw my email. We had a couple mistakes in the minutes under new business, Bill 11111 and Bill 11112. We accidentally left out who made the motion in second on those. So we need to amend those to add those. So my request is the first amendment for Bill 11111 under new business to add in Schaefer motioned and Zimmer seconded.
Okay, so we need,
A
we've
motion.
already gotten a motion and a second, so now we need to vote.
We need a motion and a second on that amendment.
Okay, may I have a motion and a second? Mr. Schaefer, you might go ahead and do that.
Sure. Motion.
Well, you got a second.
Second.
It was you.
Okay, very good. Are there any questions on the motion? Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Okay. Now I need a motion and a second to amend the minutes.
For Bill 11112, under new business
Thank
to add Litzow as who made the motion and Zimmer seconded.
Okay, so may I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Okay, good. Are there any questions on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Nay. The motion is amended as passed. Oh, yeah, abstain. Okay. Once both motions are all in favor of the, okay, so now we go to vote on the minutes. All in favor of approval of the minutes, say aye.
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 Nay. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you. All right. City council reports. Do we have any members wishing to make any reports?
I do.
Yes.
Just to let those know, the Landmarks Committee's meeting next week is on 751 North Taylor. And so it was, the agenda item is a proposal to build a new single-family home requiring demolition of the existing single-family home. So this was a hot topic a few months ago. It's coming back before the work session. There's a work session, which is kind of a new thing for Landmarks at 6:30 and the meeting's at 7, and it's January 14th. So just to give a heads up for those who've shown an interest in the past, just want to make sure everybody knows that it's back on the Landmarks agenda.
Thank you. Anyone else? Schaefer.
I'd like to mention that the young man's out here learning, getting his merit badge tonight from Boy Scouts tonight. What did you learn?
Oh.
Excellent. And on your way to Eagle Scout, right?
Any other council reports? Okay, interim chief administrative officer report.
Mayor and council have nothing to report.
You, city attorney report,
Nothing to report, Mayor.
city clerk report.
I have nothing to report.
That's a first, I think.
Thank you, Amy.
Seeing no further business, our next regular meeting is scheduled for Thursday, January 22nd. This meeting is adjourned.